permissible for his creation or anybody else. So you have to establish its exclusiveness. Almighty Allah is Hayy, and the people, the living alive people are also Hayat, they are Hayy. So there are many other attributes commonly used for creator and the creation, for the people. So first of all, apparently, either that attribute or that particular right should be an exclusive divine right of Almighty Allah, and it is through Quran, it is never allowed to be proved for anybody else. This is the first condition. Or if the case is other, if the second case, that the words have been used commonly, the right or the attribute or the names or the acts have been used. Acts are sometimes apparently common. Names are apparently sometimes common. Attributes are apparently sometimes common. So hundreds of Quranic verses are evidence on that. If this is the case, then the other thing is that it is to be established. For example, when we say Allah is Hayy, He is alive, and the people are also alive, then the question is that what is the meaning of Allah's being alive? Allah's being living, Hayy. What is the meaning of Allah's being Rauf and Rahim? What is the meaning of Allah's being Shaheed? What is the meaning of Allah's being Rauf and Rahim? What is the meaning of Allah's being Alim? What is the meaning of Allah's being Qawi? What is the meaning of Allah's being Ameen? People are Qawi, people are Ameen. So what is the meaning of Allah's being Ameen? All these attributes which are common. So for Allah, they have been used in a very specific divine sense. They have their own specific meanings. They have their own specific concepts. They have their own specific significances. They have their own specific applications. They have their own specific implications. They have their own specific limitations. They have their own specifications. So the specifications of the meanings of the same word used for Allah, the specification of that, the definition, its concept, its limitation, its sense, its implication definitely is different. And when the same word is used for somebody else, from the people, from the creation, its meaning would be different. Definitely there would be a difference of meanings, difference of application, difference of implication, difference of significance, difference of definition. So for Allah, the same attribute would be as required for the status of divinity, like His own divinity, His own being. For makhluk, the status of these meanings and meanings of these concepts and attributes would be according to their own being creation. So there would be huge difference between the two. So in order to declare something as shirk or not to declare, you have to keep this reality in your mind, that if that particular attribute which is common, either it should be uncommon. The first thing I mentioned, that either there should be an uncommon right, exclusive right for Allah, and that exclusive right for Allah, if wrongly has been proved for somebody else, it would be shirk. Or that attribute or that particular right would be apparently common. These would be two conditions. There would be only two possibilities. If it is exclusive, then nobody can use. Like ma'bud, Allah is ma'bud, He deserves our worship. So this is an exclusive right. So nobody else can be known as ma'bud in any particular sense, even in any metaphorical sense. Rahman, Allah's attribute, is never used for creation. But Rahim, see, look at Surah Fatiha. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin. So two attributes have been used at the same in one verse. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. Rahman can never be used for any other prophet or creation, for makhluk. And Rahim is used for Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Bil mu'minina raufur rahim. You see the two attributes in the same verse. One is exclusive and other is common. So if you accept somebody else as Rahman, it will become shirk. And if you accept somebody else as Rahim, it won't become shirk. You understand the point? This is the difference between the two. Almighty Allah has given this attribute to His beloved Prophet. Now, in Rahim can also be a shirk. Now, third aspect. If you accept somebody or Holy Prophet ﷺ or someone among the creation, if you accept him, Rahim, in the same meaning as Allah is Rahim, in the same sense as Allah is, with the same specifications, limitations, or in the same concept and nature and reality as is Allah's. So this would become shirk, a partnership. And if the meanings are different, for example, Allah's attributes which are common, apparently which are common, mushtarak. Allah's are, for example, permanent, and none of the creations of the people, of the prophets, none of the creatures' attributes are permanent. They are temporary, because the creation itself is temporary. They were created and they have to diminish. They have a beginning and they have an end. So is the case of their attributes. Their attributes have a beginning and their attributes have an end. Their attributes are limited. Allah's attributes are unlimited. Allah's attributes are on His own, the Zat, and their attributes are by blessing of Almighty Allah, bil ata. Bil ata. Allah's attributes are bila niha, without end. And these attributes are bin niha, with end, with limitations. There His is without limitations. So, if there is a difference of meanings or difference of nature, difference of nature, difference of scope, any specific difference, if it is established, then it won't be a shirk. That's why in confronting the shirk attack, you have to ascertain at this stage that that act which is violated, act of faith is necessarily and positively Tawhid, act of Tawhid. And for Tawhid, you have to establish this is an exclusive right of Allah. Exclusive right of Allah, either in words or in meanings, or in scope, or in nature. You can make the four terms, either in words, expression, either in words and expression, or in meanings and conception, or in nature, or in scope, or in application. Make it 5. Yeah, implication 5. 5 things. If there is any difference either in word or in meanings or in their nature or in their scope or in their application, so it won't be shirk. This would be a sufficient evidence for negation of shirk. This would be the technical methodology of confronting a shirk attack. Now, before I proceed to the evidences of Quran on Tawhid fil Khalq and Shirk fil Khalq and what is not Shirk fil Khalq, I would like to explain that this concept is so misunderstood and misused that no other concept was misused that much. Not only now, in our present times, not only in present times, the same crime, this was done in the old ancient times too, in the beginning of Islamic history. This misconception, wrong application, misuse, and to make the people mushrik and kafirs, this is very old practice. And Holy Prophet ﷺ condemned this practice from the very beginning. So whatever is being done here in London, in UK and Western world, just violating the Sharia concepts, misguiding the people, wrongly applying the Tawhid concepts and Islamic concepts and verses, misusing the verses of Holy Quran, issuing wrong degrees and wrong fatwas, and creating distortion in Sharia and Aqaid and Aqidah and Islamic concepts. This is not a thing which has been started now. It was used by khawarij in the beginning. This is the khariji way of interpreting Islam. The khariji way of interpreting Islam. The first sect which came out of Islamic ummah, who deviated, the first people who deviated first time from the mainstream of Islam, mainstream of Sunnah. They were khawarij. That's why khawarij were known, that they went outside the Islamic ambit or orbit of Islam, the basic outline of Islamic teachings. Kharij, they went away, they went outside Islamic limitations. They were khawarij, but it doesn't mean that they were not using the name of Islam and Quran. They were declaring other people as sinful and mushriks. And they were claiming to be great muwahids. And so it is, I am quoting you Sahih Bukhari. This is Sahih Bukhari. And Bab Qatl al-Khawarij wal-Mulhideen. This Bab is after the Bab of Hukmul Murtad war Murtaddah. First of all, Imam Bukhari has fixed the Bab Hukmul Murtad, the apostates. And after the apostates, the same is continuing. Istitabatul Murtaddeen wal Mu'anideen. This is the whole chapter. Kitab Istitabatul Murtaddeen. Sahih Bukhari, Kitab Istitabatul Murtaddeen. Wal Mu'anideen wa Qitalib. And then their chapter of Hukm of Murtad, and this is the chapter, fifth chapter of this book, Istitabatul Murtaddeen. I can quote you the English book reference also. This is the book of obliging the reverters from Islam. Obliging the reverters from Islam. Sahih Bukhari, this is the book in Sahih Bukhari. The book of obliging the reverters from Islam. Then this is its fifth chapter. That is about Khawarij and Mulhideen. And as Abdullah bin Umar says, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Imam Bukhari has quoted about Abdullah bin Umar's practice. Imam Bukhari says, Kana ibn Umara yarahum shirara khalqillah. He says that Ibn Umar used to consider them, whom? The Khawarij and Mulhideen, the Khawarij, the worst of Allah's creatures. Hazrat Abdullah bin Umar, the son of Sayyidina Umar al-Khattab, he used to consider them the worst of Allah's creatures. This is what Imam Bukhari is telling. Why? Why he used to consider the khawarij the worst of creatures? Were they not praying? They were praying. They were reciting Holy Quran. They were performing all religious acts and faraid and sunnah. And they were more strong. They were stronger than anybody else in recitation of Holy Quran, in praying, in fasting, and performing other Sharia acts. They were sound and profound than anybody else. In spite of this fact, he used to consider these khawarij the worst of Allah's creatures. Why? Then the reason which he has quoted, قَالَ إِنَّهُمُ انطَلَقُوا إِلَىٰ آيَاتٍ نَزَلَتْ فِي الْكُفَّارِ فَجَعَلُوهَا عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. The reason is, Imam Bukhari says that these people took some verses of Holy Quran that had been revealed concerning the disbelievers. They used to take some verses of Holy Quran which were revealed for disbelievers, for kuffar, concerning the disbelievers, and interpreted them as describing the believers, applied them on believers. They used to extend them wrongly. They used to apply their hukm and their meanings wrongly on believers. So all those verses which were revealed to condemn shirk and condemn kufr in connection of disbelievers and the mushrikeen and kuffar, they used to take and pick up those verses and they used to apply them on mu'mineen and awliya and sahaba and tabi'een and ahlullah and salihin, on mu'mineen, and say this, you say this is shirk and they are mushrikeen, this is kufr and they are kafireen. So whatever was revealed about disbelievers, they used to take and put and apply on the believers. The same is being done now. For this particular act, they were so much condemned that Abdullah bin Umar, a companion of Holy Prophet ﷺ and Mufassir and Muhaddis among the companions, according to Imam Bukhari, used to consider them the worst creatures of Allah. He condemned them. Hadith. Hadith number 6531. From this number of Sahih Bukhari. This is number for a continuing number of Sahih, continuing numbers of Hadith from Sahih Bukhari. What is the number? 6531. Just right. Then next another Hadith. 6532. Next Hadith. 6533. Again next one. 6534. Again next one. 6535. Can you bring the same from Muslim and Tirmizi? Chalo, chunki we will see all Muslims and Tirmizi, many other books, but since I have quoted this hadith from Bukhari, so I wanted to finish the chapter because it was already there in front of me. All these ahadith, starting from 6531, number 31, to 6535, all these ahadith tell. Holy Prophet ﷺ stated, سَيَخْرُجُ قَوْمٌ فِي آخِرِ الزَّمَانِ أَحْدَاثُ الْأَسْنَانِ سُفَهَاءُ الْأَحْلَامِ يَقُولُونَ مِنْ خَيْرِ قَوْلِ الْبَرِيَّةِ لَا يُجَاوِزُ إِيمَانُهُمْ حَنَاجِرَهُمْ وَيَمْرُكُونَ مِنَ الدِّينِ كَمَا يَمْرُكُ السَّهْمُ مِنَ الرَّمِيَّةِ. And this hadith is quoted, narrated by Sayyidina Ali. Next hadith, 6532. Narrated by Abu Sa'id Khudri. Abu Sa'id Khudri. Write down the number, hadith number 6532. Hadith. And the narrator is Sayyidina Abu Sa'id Khudri. An Abi Salama wa Ata bin Yasar. First, the hadith quoted by Sayyidina Ali, narrated, usko lene. Sayyidina Ali said, Holy Prophet ﷺ stated, I heard Allah's Prophet, Allah's Apostle saying, during the last days, there will appear some young foolish people. And Almighty Allah gave him ghaib, knowledge of ghaib. He mentioned many things which are occurring now, which will occur till the day of judgment, even the minor details. So whenever a thing became a fitna in Holy Prophet's ummah, he has mentioned in hadith. He said, in the last days, there will appear some young foolish people who will say the best words, to misguide the people, best words from Quran. They will talk of anil hukmu illa lillah. They will talk of man lam yahkum bima anzalallah fa ulaika humul kafirun. Man lam yahkum bima anzalallah fa ulaika humuz zalimun. Man lam yahkum bima anzalallah fa ulaika humul fasiqun. They will talk of Quran, they will talk of Quranic system, they will talk of enforcement of Islam. They will talk of Ummah and all these things. Holy Prophet said, they will say the best words. The word used are yakuluna min khayri qawlil bariyah. The best words of Islam and Quran and Sunnah, they will talk of them. But their faith will not go beyond their throats. They will have no faith of Islam. They will have no iman in them. They will have no faith. They will go out from the ambit of the religion of Islam. They will go out from their religion as an arrow goes out of the game. And now the next hadith, this was hadith number 6531. No, this was 6530. Now the next hadith, Holy Prophet has mentioned the name. Has mentioned the name. This is 6532. This hadith, Hazrat Abi Salma and Hazrat Ata bin Yasar, both of them, they asked one of the senior companions of Holy Prophet ﷺ, and he was Sayyidina Abu Sa'id Khudri. They asked him about Haruriyah, Tahrir, who would be Tahrir people. They heard sometime this name from Holy Prophet ﷺ, but there will be some Tahrir people. Al-Haruriyah. Hur, Tahrir, Haruriyah. They heard. So they asked Sayyidina Abu Sa'id Khudri, who are this Haruriyah? The Tahrir people. Tahrir group. Haruriyah means group of Tahrir. Who is this group of Tahrir? Abu Sa'id Khudri ﷺ said, La adri mal Haruriyah. I in fact don't know who is this Tahrir group. He said, I really don't know what is this group of Tahrir. What is Haruriyah? I don't know. But he said, Sami'tu an-Nabiyya sallallahu alaihi wasallam yaqul yakhruju fi hazihi al-ummah walam yaqul minha. He said, I really don't know who this group is, but I have heard Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, I have heard saying, yakhruju fi hazihi al-ummah walam yaqul minha qawmun tahkiruna salatakum ma'a salatihim yaqra'una al-Qur'ana la yujawizu huluqahum aw hanajirahum yamrukuna min ad-din muruq as-sahm min ar-ramiyyah fayanzuru ar-rami ila sahmihi ila naslihi ila risafihi yatamara fil fuqa hal alika biha min ad-dami shay. He said, I don't know who these people are, but I have heard Holy Prophet ﷺ saying that there will appear in this nation, and didn't say from this nation of Islam. He didn't say from this Islamic Ummah. He said in this nation. I don't know what they would be. Whether they would be part of the Islamic Ummah or not, but they would appear. Holy Prophet ﷺ said, a group of people from this nation, didn't say from this nation, in this nation, a group of people. And in first hadith he said they would be young, and they would be foolish young. But just you can categorize the characteristics. They would be young, and they would be foolish young. And a group of people so pious apparently. Apparently they will look pious with their these beards and with quite profound and looking sound and profound in Islamic actions and Sunnah, and talking against bid'ah and talking of Islam and Quran and shouting for Islam apparently. So they will look pious apparently. And then said, so they will look so pious apparently that you will consider your prayers inferior to their prayers. They will pray so regularly. They will pray so regularly that you will consider your prayers inferior to their prayers. But they will recite the Quran, and teachings of which will not go beyond their throats. And they will not behave according to the Quranic teaching. The teachings of Quran will not go beyond their throats, and they will go out of their religion, Islam, as an arrow darts through the game. Whereupon the archer may look at his arrow, its nasl and its risaf and its fuqa. These are various parts of the arrow, the front, the head, beginning, the between and the end. He looks at his arrow, it has passed out of my target, passed out of the game, but where is the blood? He will try to find the blood on the arrow to see whether it is blood stained or not. They will have no trace of Islam in them, but they will speak of Islam loudly. They will preach apparently, they will look pious. And these Holy Prophet said, these young, foolish young people would be Hururi people, Tahriri people. So I have not given any meanings, the exact word which Holy Prophet ﷺ has mentioned in Sahih Bukhari. Next, this hadith which I have mentioned from Sahih Bukhari. Now take the same hadith going out of deen in Islam from Sahih Muslim. So this is muttafaq alayh hadith. Muttafaq alayh. This is Sahih Muslim. Again, it is Kitab al-Zakat, Bab Zikril Khawarij wa Sifatihim. Those who will go out of Islam, ambit of Islam, Khawarij. The same hadith narrated by Sayyidina Abu Sa'id Qadri, An Abi Salmata wa Ata bin Yasar, Annahuma Ataya Aba Sayyidin al-Khudri, Fasa'alahu anil Haruriyya. Hal Samiyata Rasulullah sallam yazkuruha, Qala la adri manil Haruriyya. ولكني سمعت رسول الله يقول يخرج في هذه الأمة ولم يقل منها قوم تحقرون صلاتهم إلى آخر الحديث. I have already mentioned this detail. Now the third hadith, hadith 6533. This is the number of hadith again of Sahih Bukhari, coming back to Sahih Bukhari. Continuous number. Now I am quoting Hazrat Abdullah ibn Umar. First was narrated by Abu Sa'id Khudri. Now it is Haddasani Umar, Umar bin Abdullah bin Umar, grandson of Hazrat Umar. He says, Anna Abahu Haddasahu, his father, Abdullah bin Umar, quoted to him, narrated to him, Anna Abahu Haddasahu, An Abdullah ibn Umar. So this is grandson. His father quoted to him, narrated to him from Abdullah bin Umar. And Abdullah bin Umar, son of Hazrat Umar al-Khattab, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he said, Wazakar al-Haruriyah. He mentioned Haruri people. Kya? Tahriri people. Zakar al-Haruriyah. Qala an-Nabiyyu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam yamrukuna min al-Islami muruka sahmi min al-Ramiyya. He said, Hazrat Abdullah bin Umar narrated about al-Haruriyah, al-Haririyah, al-Tahririyah. The Prophet said, they will go out of Islam as an arrow darts out of the game's body. The same names were used in the beginning, end of the first century. A category, Al-Haruriyya, a category. The same name has been used again. Their followers have used the same names. Now again, I am quoting you Sunan Tirmizi, Kitabul Fitan. He mentioned this in Kitabul Fitan. Somebody may say, these Haruriya and Tahriri people and Haruri people were in the end of the first century and beginning of the second century along with the khawarij. This is an old story. They were Haruris and we are Tahriris. What difference between Haruri and Tahriri? He never mentioned the year. He never mentioned with his own words the century. He said, Fi akhir zaman. Akhir is in the last days of my ummah. And then he says, foolish youngsters. Number 3, here he mentions, this is Sunan Tirmizi, Kitabul Fitan. So I am giving you the answer of that question, but that this is a wrong application. No. This is extension of the same application. Extension of the same application, rather the same application. Here Holy Prophet ﷺ, Imam Tirmizi has brought, I have not done any sin. This is what Imam Tirmizi has done. Imam Bukhari brought it under separate book, Imam Muslim brought it under, reported it under separate book, and Imam Tirmizi reports this hadith under Kitabul Fitan. And Kitabul Fitan deals with the matters which will take place in the end, in the last days of the Islamic history, not in the beginning or the last century. So he takes in Kitabul Fitan, Imam Tirmizi. So this is interpretation of Imam Tirmizi. Now third thing, you understand, every Imam of Hadith reports Hadith in a specific chapter and he makes a chapter. So he has made a chapter, Kitabul Fitan. And you know Kitabul Fitan is in the last days of Islamic history. And there would be 3 periods of fitan, long 3 periods. And we are in the first period of fitan. The first period of fitan has started. This is the first fitan period. So Imam Bukhari reports this hadith in Kitabul Fitan. Before that, for example, because he is talking of the last dates, he has mentioned Mabu ma ja'a fi rafil amana, when honesty will finish, would be raised. Fitna would start. This is Tirmizi Sharif in Shiqaqul Qamar and Khasaf, the signs of the moon and signs about the suns, in the ends of the Islamic history. And then he says a chapter, Ma ja'a fi tulu shamsi min maghribiha, when sun will rise from west instead of rising from east. So you say all these chapters in Kitabul Fitan are dealing with the signs and things which will take place and which will occur in the end of the Islamic history in the period of Fitan. 3 periods of Fitan. Some things belong to the first period of Fitan, some signs belong and evidences belong to the second period of Fitan, and some signs are related to the third period of Fitan, and that would be the last period of this world. Then there will be Qiyamah. So now this thing clears the confusion that these Haruriya and Haruri people, Tahriri people, are not necessarily to be taken as that particular group which came into existence in the end of 1st century. Imam Tirmizi has mentioned this hadith in Kitabul Fitan, and Kitabul Fitan starts from now. First period of Fitan is starting now. So this is the mentioning of something which is taking place now in our period. And he says Sifatil Mariqah. And he has not mentioned this just for Khawarij. He has mentioned Mariqah, those who will go out of the religion of Islam. And he has mentioned 2 groups. Imam Tirmizi has mentioned here the hadith mentioning, specifying 2 groups, Al-Khawarij wal Haruriyya. One group would be Kharijis, other group would be Tahriris. And this is application, this is interpretation of Imam Tirmizi. Imam Tirmizi has given the interpretation this. Chapter is 24 in this book of Fitan. Its chapter number is 24, and he mentions hadith from Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, the 3rd reporter of Holy Prophet. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, first was Sayyidina Ali, the reporter, the second is Abu Sa'id Khudri, and the third Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Qala Rasulullah yakhruju fi akhir az-zaman. The basic emphasis is on akhir az-zaman, the last days of my ummah. Now this is matter of application. Some muhaddithin can take akhir zaman means the last days of a 1st century. But the more appropriate, the more understandable and the more reasonable meaning of akhir zaman can be taken the days of Fitan, which we are watching now. In the last days, Qawmun Ahdasul Asnan, the foolish youngs, Sufahaul Ahlam, the foolish youngs, Yakraun al-Quran, reciting Holy Quran, La yujavizu taraqiyahum, don't go beyond their throats, Yaquluna min qawli khairil bariyah, talking of the best words of Islam, and all these things. Yamrukuna min ad-deen kama yamruku sahm min ar-ramiyah. The same thing. Now he says Abu Sa'id an Ali, an Abu Sa'id Khudri, and Abu Zar, and the same has been mentioned by Abu Zar also. Abu Zar Ghifari. Imam Abu Isa Tirmidhi says this hadith is hadith Hasan Sahih, and this is hadith Muttafaq alayh. In Bukhari and Muslim this is hadith Muttafaq alayh, and in Tirmidhi more than Muttafaq alayh. And he says Haisu wasafa, I am quoting the words of Imam Tirmidhi now, interpreting, giving his degree. Imam Tirmidhi has given his fatwa and degree on this hadith. He says, وَقَدْ رُوِيَ فِي غَيْرِ هَذَا الْحَدِيثِ عَنِ النَّبِي. There are many other ahadith from Holy Prophet ﷺ too on the same subject. Then he says, حَيْثُ وَصَفَ هَؤُلَاءِ الْقَوْمِ. He has mentioned the characteristics of this group. يَقْرَؤُونَ الْقُرْآنَ وَلَا يُجَاوِزُ تَرَاقِيَهُمْ يَمْرُقُونَ مِنَ الدِّينِ كَمَا يَمْرُقُ السَّهْمُ مِنَ الرَّمِيَّةِ. Says, then he says, إِنَّمَا هُوَ الْخَوَارِجِ وَالْحَرُورِيَّةِ. There were 2 groups. First group is Khawarij, the Kharijis, and second group is Haruris, Tahriris. وَغَيْرُهُمْ مِنَ الْخَوَارِجِ. And these are other than Khawarij. So we have no concern whether these names were used in the end of 1st century or 2nd century or 3rd century or in this 15th century. Holy Prophet has used the word Akhir Zaman. And Imam Tirmizi has taken this hadith in Kitabul Fitan. There can be another, the same followers of Khawarij can give their names to themselves, Khawarij. And there are Haruris, their name has been mentioned. And then same, this hadith I have already mentioned various points. One hadith is about Zil Khuwaisara at-Tamimi. And this is narrated by Abu Sa'id Khudri, hadith number 6534, Sahih Bukhari. Who said to Holy Prophet when he was dividing the booties of war, the booty of war, Mal-e Ghanimat, he was dividing and distributing among the people, among the soldiers. So he said, Adil ya Muhammad, O Holy Prophet, be honest and be just. He said, be just and distribute it justly. Do justice. He is asking Holy Prophet to do, Mazallah. So when he said, Qala Umar ibn al-Khattab, he stood up. This is the way one, he is talking of honesty and justice, but nonsense. That is khair al-qala, qawl al-khair al-bariyah. They talk of Islam and good things, but they are nonsense, foolish. They don't know what to say, where to apply, and how to say, how to apply, how to understand. They disconnect the words from their meaning. They disconnect the verses and commandments from their applications. They distort the whole image of Islam. That's why they have said they are. And then he said, Sayyidina Umar stood up and he said, وَقَالَ عُمَرَ بْنُ الْخَطَّابِ بِئْذَنْ لِي فَأَدْرِبَ عُنُقَهُ. Oh, Ya Rasulullah, allow me, I will cut his neck. I will kill him. Holy Prophet said, don't kill him. Why? فَإِنَّ لَهُ أَصْحَابًا. In next coming days, there are other people coming from the same group, believing the same things